You can use graphing paper, you can use line paper. I use graphing paper just because it's easier for me. But you can use whatever paper you have available. Pen, pencil, whatever. I use pencil, I use graphing paper, just because it helps me to make straight lines. If I make a mistake, I can erase it. So today we are talking about adding integers, negative and positive integers. 3 different ways we're going to be doing that. One is using a number line, one is using tiles, and the other way is using a kind of a shortcut method. So the first way that we're looking at it is with number lines. So that'll be our first way. So our first example will be 3 plus negative 5. So 3 plus negative 5. And notice there that the negative 5 is in parentheses. The reason it's in parentheses is because math people don't like signs next to each other. It's a little bit confusing that way. So they're making sure that you see that this is an integer and this is an integer, and those integers are being added together. Just helps to kind of organize it a little bit. Now, if I'm using a number line, I'll start here with a negative 4. So like I said, the graph paper makes it a little bit easier. It doesn't make a difference to me, though. If you have it or not, does not make a difference. Now, our first number here is a 3. We start at the origin. Our first number starts at the origin. Yesterday in class, we mentioned that the origin is the beginning. It's where everything starts. So our number starts at 0 and goes to 3 in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3. Then it stops. I'm going to put an arrow on there so we know which direction it's going. So once we went to 3, now we add to it a negative 5. So now we're going to go from there 5 in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. So that puts us right there. So when we look at where that finished, negative 1, negative 2, our answer here is negative 2. We use the number line to represent that expression. Not only are you going to have to create a number line from an expression, but you'll have to go the other way also. Like this. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So now I'm going to draw a number line, and I want you to determine what the expression is being represented. So start here at my origin. Go to here, watching my arrows. And from there, I'm going to go to, let's see. Watching my arrows. So you have to determine what expression is being represented on that number line. Remember, look at the origin. Look at the direction that that's going. Anybody think they know what is being represented there? What do you think, Josh?
I think it's negative 4 plus 7.
So you said negative 4? Now, why do you say negative 4?
Because it's going backwards with the negatives.
So we're going backwards 4, so that represents our negative 4. And then you're adding to it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're adding 6 to it, and we're ending up right there at a positive 2. Perfect. Excellent, excellent. So it all begins at the origin, then you go in the direction, so it's in the negative direction, goes 4. Then we're adding to that 6 in the positive. Now there's one other example. It's not very common, but there's a chance you're going to see it. I just don't want you to panic and like pass out from fear if you see it. If you have three numbers being added together, you can still represent those on a number line. Let's do, start at -5, 0. So same type of deal. Our number line here. Watch scale. This one happens to be 1. So same deal. We start here at 3. So we start at the origin, and then we go 3 in the positive direction. So starting here, 1, 2, 3 in the positive direction. Make my little arrows there. Now I'm going to add to it 1 in the negative direction. Okay, 1 in the negative direction. Okay, arrow. Then I'm going to go 2 in the positive direction. So now 1, 2. And my arrow. Puts my answer right there at 4. Like I said, it's not super common. I just don't want you to panic and pass out. And you see that, I've never seen that before. You just start crying uncontrollably. Start rocking in the fetal position. Stay calm. So that's using number lines. Number lines are not new, but I really, really, really like number lines because they represent problems really well. You can see why it works. You can see if I have 4 in the negative and I add 6 to it, you can see why it ends up here. You can see that if I owe $4 and then I pay back $6, that I have $2. It makes sense. We can visually see it and we can understand it. The next way is with tiles, and it's very similar. If I use tiles to solve a problem, like 3 plus -2. If I use tiles to solve a problem like this, I'll use yellow. You don't have to use yellow, you can use whatever. I have 3 positive tiles, and I have 2 negative tiles. Now, if I have a positive tile and a negative tile, what do those equal together? If I have a positive and a negative. Hunter? 0, right? A positive 1 and a negative 1. Together, it equals 0. So 0, and it's called a 0 pair. It's a pair of numbers, -1 and 1, that together equals 0, 0 pair. You also have 2 positives and 2 negatives. So altogether, it equals 0. Positive 2 plus -2 is what's called an additive inverse. They're inverses, opposites of each other. So these two together equal 0. So my answer is +1. Now, you don't have tiles in front of you. So what you could do is like squares. If you like squares, you can do little circles if you want. 3 positives and then 2 negatives. So now you've got your little squares on there, positives and negatives. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the additive inverses and show that they're being taken away. That gives me 1 positive. So if we ever have a test, or if you're ever given a state test or given the question, represent these numbers or represent this expression in 2 different ways. These are 2 different ways showing the same process. Let's look at another tile situation. So if I've got 5 negatives and I'm adding to it 3 positives. Same type of problem. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I got 5 negatives. And I've got 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. How many 0 pairs do I have there? Smart. 3. 1, 2, 3 0 pairs. So my answer, -2. And again, you could do like 3 or 5, 3, 4, 5. Negative, 3 positive, together, 0, leaves me with 2 negatives. However you want to do that. This third method is my least favorite. The reason that I like these 2 methods a lot is because we can visually see why it works. It's really clear that -1 plus 1 is 0. It makes sense. We can see it. We know what we're left with. We can see it. We can hold it in our hands. We can represent it with physical things. This last way is just feels kind of like a shortcut. Big minus little. Big minus little. And then you keep the sign of the big number. You take the big number, subtract the little number, and then you keep the sign of the big number. But what you have to do there is use absolute value. So, 6. For example, if I have like a -2, and I add 8 to it, the absolute value of a -2 is 2. The absolute value of an 8 is 8. So you're going to take the bigger absolute value, which is 8, subtract the smaller absolute value, which is 2. 8 minus 2 gives me 6. And then I use the sign of the larger absolute value, which is 8, which is a positive number. So your answer there is 6. Another example, if I have -34 plus 8, this is where it comes in handy. I'm not going to put 34 tiles down. I'm not going to make a number line that goes to 34. It's just a lot of work. It'd take a long time. So this method works really well for these type of numbers. So -34, absolute value is 34. 8, the absolute value is 8. So I'm going to do the big number, which is 34, minus my little number, 14. Make that a 2. 14, 30, 12, 11, 10, 9, 6, 2. So my answer there is 26, and I use the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is -34, so my answer is -26. Yes, ma'am. Technically, the bigger number is 8. And this is one of the reasons I really don't like this, because it says the big number minus the little number. But the bigger number is 8. I would rather have $8 than owe $34. The problem is you have to use absolute value. So the absolute value of -34 is 34, which will be bigger than 8. The last thing I want to mention is just something that you learned last year. If your signs are the same, your answer is the same. So if I've got like -3 plus -2. -3 plus -2 gives me -5. Signs stay the same. If I've got like 3 plus 2, the answer is +5 because my signs are both positive. You learned that last year, so shouldn't be a earth-shattering information for you. Any questions or concerns about adding negative and positive numbers using those three models.